Hello, everyone. Welcome to our fourth lesson on leisure. We're looking at the growth of spectator sport. Now, spectator sport is only possible if you have spectators who are willing to pay money to go and watch athletes play. And there's a variety of different spectator sports that are out there. We can see from the images on the left, we have American football. On the right, we have football. And in the middle, we have a very popular spectator sport, believe it or not, which is chess. Your starter is to answer which sports you like watching on TV and which you would rather watch live and to explain why. So take a few moments just to jot down a few ideas. What is it that you like to watch on TV? Is there a reason for it? And why would you rather watch a particular sport live and in person? Is it to do with the atmosphere? Is it to do with the venue? Is it to do with just traveling to that venue in itself? So take a few moments, pause the video, let's get our title, our LO, and our starter done, and when you're ready, go ahead and hit play. So a little bit of context for us. So spectator sport is actually a relatively new idea. In the medieval era, you didn't have enough time to go and just watch others play a sport or even pay to watch. You just didn't have enough money to do so either. Spectator sport really became possible in the mid to late 1800s, and this was because of the Industrial Revolution. Now, factories were able to produce goods in much larger volumes, and we know the more you have of something, the less it costs. And in turn, they also did so very quickly. So this meant that products were cheaper to buy for regular people, which meant they had more money to spend. And factories, since they produced goods more quickly, this gave workers more free time. We're going to have a series of slides that are read out to us as well as a few videos. Please do pause these as needed to write down a few key point notes as we move through the lesson.
In the second half of the 19th century, national associations were formed which encouraged amateur values and practices in opposition to professionalism as a way of promoting mutual respect and sportsmanship. By the 20th century, the demand for mass entertainment in Britain was to produce a highly successful system of professional spectator sport, especially in football, rugby and cricket. The growth of socially mixed northern teams led to broken time payments where working men were compensated for having to miss work in order to play. In 1895, the split between rugby union and rugby league came about because the rugby union, the game's organisers, refused demands from players to be paid for time lost at work.
Now, when we look at spectator sports, we need to look at it from a few different perspectives. So the type of sport, the popularity of that sport, the cost of spectating, the ease of spectating, the accessibility of spectating, or even TV broadcasting, the quality of the venue and the event, and the geography of it. So we looked at this source before in our Elizabethan unit. So over here we have the Globe Theatre in the top right, and then we have the Bear Garden here. And we talked about the proximity of these two to each other, but also to the River Thames in the background. So the ease of getting to the Globe was quite simple. It was very popular to go to the theatre. However, if the theatre was full, it was only a short walk to the Bear Garden. Now we need to think of how these affect us watching our favorite sport. And we can look at a place like Wembley Stadium, the types of sports that take place here, the popularity of those sports, the cost of spectating, the ease of getting there. Do we have to go to the stadium or can we watch it on TV? The quality of the venue and the event, is it comfortable? Is it nice to go and watch? And the geography, where is it actually located? Is it simple for us to get to? So have a think. Do any of these affect what you like to watch in terms of your favorite sports?
Dad was very nonchalant about it. He said, "Let's see if we can get in to see the match." When we got out at Wembley Park, we were in a huge wave of humanity all going in the same direction. It was just a solid mass of people, though I don't ever remember feeling scared because the crowd were so good-natured. There was a seething mass at the entrance. Dad said, "Look, everybody's going over the turnstiles. Let's follow them." They were locked. The staff had obviously just locked up and left. So we climbed over the fence and the turnstile and found ourselves inside the ground.
Well, Motty's not quite old enough to remember the last Wembley inauguration back in 1923, but we found someone who can.
There wasn't very much happening in the world those days, but I do remember this damn great building that was going up. My father said to me, I hear there's a good game at Wembley this afternoon, let's try and get in. He said, I haven't got a ticket, but maybe we'll be able to pay at the door. We managed to get a train from Harrow to Wembley and marched up that long Wembley Way, I think they call it now. And when we eventually got up to a solid mass of crowd, we just couldn't get it in nearer. So my dad, being fairly venturesome spirit, said, well, I haven't got a ticket, neither have they. Let's try and climb in. So we did. I had got separated from him, and I heard a voice somewhere just behind me saying, oh, there's a young lad here, let's let him in. Another chap said, all right, pass him down the front. So they did. And I was carried over the top of these very friendly people and deposited somewhere near the pitch. The stands were massed, and obviously the overflow from the stands had converged on the pitch, and the people were just in a horrible mess. In those days, nobody thought about crowd control. That number of people covering a football ground, which everybody wanted to see, that was the point really. It cleared them as much as the chap on the horse, because they all realised if they didn't get off the pitch, there wasn't going to be a game. My father came from Lancashire, and he obviously supported Bolton, but I didn't know at the time, couldn't know where he was. All I could see was an occasional figure floating past. I was left down amongst the crowd who were gradually wafting away. I thought to myself, I'll never find him, I might as well stay here. And I don't know how long it was, but eventually he wandered into sight. I'm hoping Manchester United win, because that's my father's backing, and he'll be very disappointed if they don't.
So knowing what we know now about spectator sport, we're going to try to group the following images in the bottom into spectator sports, whether they were popular in the 1500s to 1750 or they're kind of popular nowadays. So the first one we have is jousting. So jousting obviously will be very popular between 1500 and 1750. We've got modern football. So we'll put that in our column for the year 2000. Let's go back to our Elizabeth unit to remember what sport this is. This is bear baiting. This was very popular in the Elizabethan era, kind of 1559 to 1603. So this is bullfighting, which is still quite popular in Spain. This is not bull baiting. You can see the bull is not chained, so we know it's not bull baiting, but it's bullfighting. We have wrestling or grappling, kind of popular today in the Olympics, but very popular in the 1500s. And haggis hurling, the one we learned about in our first lesson. So your final task today is to write down why some spectator sports are more popular than others. And you have 4 questions to write down and to answer in full sentences. So out of the images you see below, which sport would you most want to watch and which one would you most least want to watch? And you need to be able to explain why. What is unique about your favorite sport and what makes it so popular? What is different about your least favorite sport? Why is it not as popular? And number 4, why do sports need spectators to be successful?